Marty Supreme was directed by Josh Safdie, the brother of Benny Safdie, who earlier this year directed The Smashing Machine, a gigantic hunk of garbage in my opinion. Now it's Josh's turn to give Timothee Chalamet a chance at the Best Actor Oscar. And Chalamet plays young Marty Mouser, who in the 1950s is pursuing his dream of becoming a champion table tennis player, but he has to go through hell and back to achieve that dream. Now, I really enjoy movies like that, where you have a protagonist who is going after something that is so impossible to a lot of people in his life, but he's so hell-bent on getting to that point. And you know, sometimes what makes movies like this even more fascinating is if this protagonist does things that are inexcusable in human nature. He says things to people that you wouldn't say to people if you're a nice person. Because there were times where I was looking at Marty in this and I was like, you're a real dickhead. Like, you just kind of want to strangle him sometimes. But then again, if you watch movies like American Psycho or The Wolf of Wall Street or Uncut Gems, it's all really fascinating because these protagonists are all so deplorable in a lot of different ways, but you just can't help but be enraptured by it. It's almost like you're watching the most addictive, trashiest reality television in a lot of cases, where you know a lot of these plot lines are absolutely, utterly ridiculous, but you just cannot take your eyes off the screen. And that, to me, is what Marty Supreme is. And yes, it has gotten a lot of very fair comparisons to Uncut Gems, another Safdie brothers movie, with a very complex protagonist played by Adam Sandler. And a lot like Uncut Gems, Marty Supreme is on the longer side. This movie runs about 2.5 hours. But here's the thing. With this movie, I was never bored. There is not a single dull moment to be had in Marty Supreme. I was just into this thing, hook, line, and sinker. I was constantly wondering, how the hell is this guy going to get out of this situation? And just when you think he's taking one step forward in his life, boom, another situation comes up that happened earlier in the film and he takes 10 steps backward. And this script is so brilliant. Josh Safdie, again, co-wrote this screenplay. And man, this is what every great film should do. Put your protagonist in as dire of situations as humanly possible, and surround him with people who are telling him that his ultimate goal is absolutely impossible. And yeah, even though you don't condone a lot of his actions, you want him to achieve that lifelong dream. And you know, a lot of that I also think has to do with the fact that it's Timothee Chalamet in this role. A lot of people love this guy. He's become incredibly recognizable, especially since, like, this guy, like, only came into the public eye over the last decade or so. And the Oscars have definitely had their eye on Timothée Chalamet for the better part of a decade at this point. And good God, I think this is the role that has to get him his Best Actor win. He was magnificent in this film. I can honestly argue, and I've only seen the movie one time, I want to go see it again, but I do feel like that this is Chalamet's best work to date. Because there's a lot of times where he just comes off so smarmy and like such a con man that you're like, you're so full of it, dude. But you are also just so drawn in because of how determined he is to achieve his dreams. And yeah, really good in the ping pong sequences as well. I have to do some further research and actually see if Timothée Chalamet learned how to play ping pong for this and like really get skilled at it. But he was just, again, this is one of the most dynamite performances of the year. If this guy does not win Best Actor and The Rock does for Smashing Machine, then I'll be pissed off. Because this was so much far better than The Smashing Machine in every sense of the word. And this is like, I was talking to a friend of mine about this, but this is probably, for my money, on paper, one of the most random assortment of talents that you can think of for a big movie like this. Because first off, you have Pepper Potts herself, Gwyneth Paltrow, appearing in this in a smaller role. She plays an actress that Timothée Chalamet's character comes across and has a bit of affairs with. And she's really good in the movie as well. I haven't really seen her in anything big like this in a long time. And it's possible she could get a Best Supporting Actress nod here. But honestly, I would much rather the Best Supporting Actress nomination go to Odessa A. Zion. I really hope I said her last name right. She plays the person that Marty is basically opposite of and the person of his affections for most of it. God, man, there's a lot of things she goes through in this movie that are just, like, you just want to see her make it out of this situation okay. And make it out of every situation that Marty gets her into. Like, and she's in the trenches with him in a lot of cases. She's a badass. But you want to talk about randomness. You also have Tyler, the creator, appearing in this movie in a smaller role, playing a friend of Marty's. He was actually really charming and really funny in this. And if you thought Tyler, the creator's involvement was random, Kevin O'Leary plays the villain in this, basically. This is the guy from Shark Tank. And he basically plays his persona in Shark Tank in this. He is a asshole billionaire. And you know what? Yeah, this is a niche role for him. He's really freaking good at it. And you also got to talk about Josh Safdie as a director. My big pro with the Smashing Machine, and I'm sorry I keep going back to that, but I love that this movie was shot almost like it's a home video. It really does feel like it's as raw as it possibly can be. It feels like you are there in these situations with these people. The editing in this movie, oh my God. I really hope this movie gets the win for best editing because this is just a thing of beauty. It's movies like Marty Supreme that is an editor's dream come true. And Josh Safdie also had a hand in editing this movie alongside his co-writer Ronald Bronstein. Like, these are talented guys. These are really, really talented people. The music choices in this movie I also thought were really good. The soundtrack choices, like, just... I hate to call a movie that just came out as pitch perfect as this was, but this was just a phenomenal film. And this might be recency bias once I do my best of the year list, but you should expect to see this movie on there. And you should all go and check this movie out. Absolutely. I think it's a shoo-in to win a bunch of Oscars, especially Best Actor for Chalamet. This should be the one. Now, there's one thing that I will address here, and it is a nitpick and a problem for a lot of people. Yeah, there are some scenes, especially those involving Gwyneth Paltrow, that ultimately you could just cut from the movie and it might have a better pace to it. But you know what other movie was really long and had scenes like that and nobody really batted an eye at it? Well, that would be The Wolf of Wall Street. And a lot of those scenes that Leo has with Margot Robbie in that film might not be as necessary as some of the other ones for that story. But ultimately, it helps expand the scope of the world building of that movie as well. Similarly, you meet a whole lot of colorful characters through Gwyneth Paltrow, especially our main villain in Kevin O'Leary. So those scenes are important for the world building, so I'm not going to complain about that. It's not going to be a nitpick. Guys, I implore you, this is a movie that is not to be missed. Please go and check it out in theaters if you haven't already. It is 2.5 hours of nail-biting, thrilling, funny stuff going on. Like, man, I hate to say the word funny, but it's just like, there's a lot of dark humor in this. I love movies like that have a dark sense of humor, and it follows one guy who, again, it might not be the most likable presence on the planet, but you still kind of want to see him get his dreams and still get his dues. And the finale of this movie, the ending, one of my favorite endings all year long, because I was just on the edge of my seat. This is absolutely one of my favorite movies of the year. I implore you guys to see it as soon as you possibly can. I'm giving Marty Supreme an A+. Yeah, this is the Supreme of the Supreme. Marty Supreme honestly sounds like a Taco Bell item the more I think about it, right? Like, it sounds like a Crunchwrap Supreme, but you get what I mean. Well, let me know what you think. Did you guys watch Marty Supreme? Is this one of your favorite movies of the year? Let me know all down there in the comments. Hit that subscribe button if you're a new viewer. Tap on that thumbs up and that bell icon. All of these are great ways to stay in touch with me and continue talking movies with me in the future as we go into 2026 and beyond. Like, that is nuts that I'm saying that. 2026 is 3 days away. 3 days away at the time of recording, that is, of course. I don't know when you guys are watching these videos. But thank you guys so much again for your support. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence!